Hello everyone, I'm Akhila Sulgante and today I'm going to present my final project that I completed for my data visualization class at Northeastern University under Professor John Alexis. My topic of interest was exploring Shark Tank India data visually. This combines my two passions, that is data and entrepreneurship. As we know that Shark Tank India has become a household name in just two seasons of its appearance on the TV, I too was very intrigued by the investment decisions made by the shark on the show. This project represents data as presented on the show. So, today we are going to explore about the investment patterns on Shark Tank India. That is, we will uncover what has been like the investment in these two seasons on the show. The objective of this project was to wave the Shark Tank India's data as is, and in TV we might see a lot of editing and emotional attached to it, but in this data visualization project we will see what has been the investment patterns and how sharks have been investing in these companies that appeared on Shark Tank. So for the first step, we will see an overall investments on the show. This will give us an idea about how competitive it is to get an offer in the tank, and it will also help us to analyze if a prospect startup has a good chance of getting an offer when in the tank. So, for this project, I conducted a usability study where I interviewed three of my potential website users and tried to understand of how I could make my website and my visualization better. So this is what I was using before the usability study. The chart is called Zoomable Iceburst, but I found out that the users were not able to navigate and the colors did not follow a convention, and it was super confusing for user to actually understand what was going on. So after the usability study, I changed the chart and made it easier to look and discover. This is called a zoomable icicle, and then after when I will show when I'm demoing the website that I left a very clear note as to how to navigate and see the industries that got offer and accepted it, and that did not get offers. So for the second step, we will understand the industries that sharks are favorable to. For example, if a particular shark owns a company in tech industry, we might assume that that shark might invest only in startups from the tech because he's very familiar with the space. So why this needs to be studied is for as a prospect contestant, if one is able to understand like which sharks to actually pitch their ideas to properly, then it might increase the chances of getting an investment. So to understand this, I have used a cascaded tree map here, which shows the all the sharks and their investments by their amount. As we can see that the size of the boxes also indicate an implicit ranking of the sharks. For example, we see that Aman has had the highest investment, and followed by Piyush, and followed by Namita, and so on. So this chart actually was very easy for users to navigate, and they were able to perform the task very efficiently. They were able to see what is the portfolio for a particular shark, and what is the industry that that shark is very interested in. Going further, we will know the companies that shark has invested previously. So even though these are the previous investment, studying more about the company and knowing what has been their investment gives an idea about what they are looking for in an entrepreneur. And maybe for a prospect contestant, they can go back and watch the pitches of the companies that got investments from shark and learn more about the sharks and their interest and what they actually look for in an entrepreneur. So here I have used a bar chart, a pretty simple one, but then it very concisely shows all the companies that shark has invested in and the amount that the shark has invested in that particular company. I have also color coded the bins with the industry just to see as to what industry the shark particularly likes to invest in. And going further, we see that it's not always that one shark invests in one companies. There are times where multiple sharks partner and invest in a startup. This is both beneficial to the shark and the contestant, because as a shark it reduces their risk of investing in a startup, and as a contestant they get an expertise of all the sharks that are involved in the deal. So for this one, I have used a force directed link graph. This has some animation which I'll be demoing with the website, and this was super cool for users to play with, but it was also kind of distracting, and just the animation was more attractive than the ability to perform tasks itself. But I believe that with a note and filters provided along with the chart, it gives the user proper way and an efficient way rather to see what the companies the shark has invested in and what has been joint investment of multiple sharks, and hovering over the circles will also give company name. So for the final breakdown of the investment patterns that the sharks are interested in, I have used an upset chart. This is the one before the usability study. This chart was super confusing and users were not able to navigate, and it was my mistake for not providing a proper labels, but they were not able to understand what was the prevalence and what it meant. So after the usability study, I changed the orientation of the chart, and I realized that it is for this it is easier to know who is who if you know exactly the sharks. But then if you're new and you're just like discovering them now, it is easier to remember that this is Piyush and this is Aman. So I made it very clear, and in my website also I have given an introduction to the sharks. So if a user is confused, they can go back and forth and see who they are looking at, and also provided their names, and instead of prevalence, the percentage of companies they have invested in, I have provided the count of companies that they have invested in, which makes it more clear. And I will now perform the problem abstraction for this particular chart. So the problem abstraction for a visualization would consist of three: the what, why, and how. Starting with the data abstraction, my dataset is static and the dataset type is a table. The attributes I've used here are, as you can see, this is the first one is sharks. This is a categorical attribute, and then the degree indicates the joint investments by the count. So let's say the degree is 2, it means that 2 sharks have invested. If the degree is 3, then 3 sharks have invested, so and so. That is a derived attribute, and that is quantitative and sequential. For prevalence is also a derived attribute. It will give us the composition of that degree of sharks from the total investments. And I've also used count of the companies here instead of prevalence after the iteration, which shows us that what is the count that this particular pair of shark has invested in. I've also introduced a filter on season so that it is not confusing. Like we saw that there are a few sharks in season 1 but not in season 2, so having them in an overall data would be very confusing and would not be able to perform the task efficiently. Later I've also provided on top of that I've also provided sharks partnership count, so the user can filter if they want to see the count of companies that sharks have invested as individual, or count of companies that 3 or other sharks have invested. Like you can see the count of companies that 4 sharks have invested together, and furthermore dive deep into what are those companies and what has been like for the companies that got investment. So the idiom abstraction here, this is like a joint of this is the task abstraction that I'll be performing now. Let's say our task is to identify the pair that have invested the most together in season 1. So what we'll do is we'll locate all the pairs that have invested together by using the filter here, and then identify the pair that has the most investment. which is like, since the chart is sorted, you'll be able to see the one on the top. So that was the task abstraction. Now moving on to the idiom abstraction, there are two idiom joined together for this chart. So our marks would be line and point. Point are these sharks, and the line would be this one, and also the connection between the shark could also be a mark. And for the channel, we have position to indicate the count on degree. Higher the position of the bin, higher is the count. And color hue is to differentiate the shark. This here is not exactly a color hue. I have added the images, so this will act as color hue in the chart. And for the expressivity principle, for the count of companies, we have separate, order, and align. We have separated the count and ordered it and aligned in a decreasing manner. And for the shark, we can say that they use express as their expressivity principle. So why this chart? Even though it was super confusing for user in the beginning to navigate through the chart, I believe that it shows a very comprehensive view of what has been the investment pattern. So a little bit about the website, which I'll be demoing now. This website is resizable, which means that it will fit on any laptop size. And also I have made an attempt to use colors which are colorblind friendly for the accessibility. So moving on to the website now, this is the homepage which gives a comprehensive view of what to expect from this website. And this is not an official website, but this is a visualization one for the Shark Tank India. So along with my project partner, I have developed this website. My project partner is taking care of the pitches in the Shark Tank, which I'll provide the link to in the description. So my responsibility was to take care of the investment patterns, and we can see from here now. So as mentioned before, we will be seeing, first we will be meeting the sharks, and we will just discover as to who has been on the show and what are their companies. You can click on their image and it will take you to their LinkedIn profile if you want to learn more about them, or you can click on the link here, which will take you to their company's profile. Like Piyush Bansal is the founder of Lenskart, so you can navigate to Lenskart and learn more about him and other sharks as well. So starting with our first chart, which gives an overview of the investment, here we can see that it says total pitches were 320 on the show, in which 216 received offer, and in the companies that received offer, 176 accepted it and 40 did not accept it. And the user can click on the area of the accepted chart to see what has been like the industry wise breakdown for each company that got an offer. So here we can see that food has been 44, beauty and fashion have been 34 companies that got offer, and you can see that 15 companies in the food industry did not accept the offer. Likewise, you can see the companies that did not receive an offer and what have been the company count for each industry that did not receive the offer. And moving on to understanding the sharks portfolio from the industry perspective, we have a chart here that shows us the total amount on the show that has been invested till now, and also the individual amount of the sharks. These amounts are in lakhs in INR. So here, with the size of the rectangles or the boxes, we can tell that Aman has had the most investment. It is also given by the number by amount here, and also within Aman's investment, he has invested 270,000 lakhs in 570 lakhs in the food industry. My bad. Yeah, likewise, you can see that other sharks have invested in a very diverse set of industry, and what is interesting is that Amit and Anupam have invested in beauty and fashion, as have their most investment in that, which is interesting because that is not related to the industry that they are actually like experts in. Now, moving on, we'll explore the companies that are backed by the sharks. Here, you can see each individual company that the shark has invested in. Now, for example, let's say Piyush, you can see that he has invested in a lot of companies, and you can see the amount that he has invested in for that particular company. Likewise, you can change the shark of your choice and see what companies they have invested in. So to go to the company's website and learn more about the company, you can just click on the bin and it will take you to the company's website and you can learn more about that startup. So moving on to analyzing the mutual and individual investments by shark, here we have a graph which shows us the company that Aman, Piyush, and Vinita have invested together. So you can see that these companies are the ones that these three have had their investment in. Since the filters have selected just these three sharks, it will show the company that these sharks are invested in. But there are other sharks also that might be involved in these startups. So we can see that these are the companies that they have invested together, and these are the companies that Piyush and Aman have invested together, and these are the ones that Aman and Vinita have invested together, and these are the ones that Piyush and Vinita have invested together, and these are the ones that each sharks have invested in individually. Likewise, you can select the filters here to see the shark of your choice, and also the industry which you want to view here. Okay, moving on to the last chart we have. As mentioned, I have provided a walkthrough on the website as to make it easier for the user to navigate through the chart and not be overwhelmed with the things happening in it. So first things, we have filter on the season. So we can see that there's season 1 and season 2, and likewise you can change the shark partnership count. So we see that for Namita, she has had a lone investment in 16 of the companies, followed by Amit, who has had 11 investment by himself without any collaborations. And if you want, you can change the degrees, like the shark partnership count, and see that Aman and Piyush have invested the most together in season 2 as opposed to season 1, which was Aman and Namita. Likewise, you can see the sharks. You can increase the count and see how many sharks have involved in, like, how many companies by their count. That is it for the demo of visual landscape of India and understanding the investment patterns on Shark Tank India. I hope you liked it. Thank you so much.